Have you ever walked into a room and felt invisible to the very person you wanted to notice you? Have you ever spent nights wondering what do they want? Why do they chase someone else and not me? Here's the truth most won't tell you. Attraction is not about how you look. It's about what you communicate without saying a word. The difference between being someone they see and someone they chase lies in one secret, and once you unlock it, everything changes. This isn't about playing games. It's about mastering presence, energy, and self-worth in a way that turns heads before you even try. This isn't about being cold. It's not about strategy or manipulation. It's about becoming the kind of woman who doesn't need to be chased to feel valuable, but becomes so self-assured, so emotionally present, and so grounded in her standards that being around her is a privilege. That's the secret. That's what 97% of men are chasing, and most don't even realize it. Want to know what makes people chase you? Start becoming the version of yourself you'd chase too. When you first meet someone, everything you do, from your body language to your tone of voice to the way you respond to a compliment, tells them how to treat you. Most people don't realize that attraction doesn't start with beauty, charm, or effort. It starts with the standards you carry and the boundaries you quietly enforce. You don't need to make a speech about what you deserve. Your energy does that for you, but only if you've done the internal work to know what you're no longer available for. A lot of people get caught in the trap of trying to be liked. They don't want to scare someone off, so they accommodate. They become agreeable, available, and overly understanding. But what actually happens in that moment is subtle and dangerous. You start training someone to see you as someone who doesn't require much to keep. You give more than you should, hoping that if you show how good and loyal and loving you are, they'll value you. But what you're doing is the opposite. You're lowering the bar for someone who should be rising to meet your worth. When you carry a clear sense of what you're willing to accept and what you're not, everything about you shifts. You don't have to say, "I won't tolerate being treated like an option." Your actions will say it for you. You won't be the one waiting for a late reply. You won't chase after someone who gives you crumbs. You won't apologize for having needs, because you understand that anyone who's intimidated by your standards is simply unqualified to meet them. You don't raise your voice or play hard to get. You raise your value by living according to it. The key is not just having high standards. It's holding yourself to them first. Do you respect your own time? Do you speak kindly about yourself? Do you walk away when someone shows you they can't meet your emotional needs? Because when you do, you naturally radiate self-respect, and that energy is impossible to ignore. You become someone who's rare, not because you're out of reach, but because you're grounded in your worth. And that groundedness is what sparks genuine desire. It makes someone lean in closer, try harder, and chase, not because you made them, but because you inspired them. Most people confuse emotional availability with oversharing or being too vulnerable too quickly. But the truth is, emotional availability is not about spilling every detail of your life or wearing your heart on your sleeve for anyone to see. It's about being open while still maintaining emotional discipline. It's the art of expressing how you feel with clarity without controlling the outcome, and that's what makes it powerful. When you're emotionally available, you create an environment of safety, not only for yourself, but for the person you're interacting with. You signal that you're mature enough to handle depth, and secure enough not to chase validation. The reason this quality is magnetic is because it's rare. In a world full of half-present connections, flaky communication, and guarded hearts, someone who can calmly say, "I like you, but I'm not afraid to lose you," becomes unforgettable. It's the balance of honesty and detachment, of caring deeply but not clinging, that draws people in. When you can name what you feel without trying to manipulate or rush someone into matching it, you instantly stand out, because emotional confidence like that isn't something most people are used to. It shakes them in a good way. It challenges them to rise emotionally or risk losing something real. Many people play games to seem aloof, thinking it'll make them more desirable. but games only attract people who are also playing. If you want someone who is emotionally mature, connected, and capable of genuine love, you must lead with what you want to attract, and that starts with showing up fully, without pretending you don't care. Emotional honesty says, I'm not afraid of rejection because I trust myself to handle it. That courage is what commands respect and deepens attraction. When a man senses that you are emotionally clear, that you're not hiding behind ego, mixed signals, or fear, he feels something that's almost foreign in today's dating world: relief. It's a breath of fresh air. He doesn't have to guess what you feel, but he also knows he can't take you for granted. That tension, the warmth of your presence paired with the firmness of your boundaries, makes you both approachable and untouchable at the same time. That paradox is irresistible, and that's why the ones who are ready to chase something real will always chase someone like you. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many people think it means being loud, outspoken, or constantly trying to be seen. But real confidence doesn't try, it just is. It lives quietly in your posture, in your presence, in how you enter a room and make people feel your energy before you say a word. You don't need to demand attention when you're deeply rooted in who you are. You command it simply by being grounded and unshaken. This kind of confidence isn't about performance, it's about authenticity. It doesn't seek approval because it already exists from within. The most attractive people are not the ones chasing validation or trying to prove their worth. They're the ones who walk through life with an unspoken message: I'm good with or without you. That energy is magnetic. It doesn't make others feel pushed away, it makes them want to lean in closer. Why? Because confidence creates curiosity. When someone sees you aren't competing for attention, when you don't need to be the loudest or most agreeable person in the room, they begin to wonder what it is about you that's different. That wonder becomes intrigue, and that intrigue becomes pursuit. You also stop chasing attention when you know you're not for everyone, and that's okay. A confident person doesn't try to be universally liked. They know their value doesn't decrease when someone overlooks them. They've already accepted that the right people won't need convincing. This self-acceptance radiates outward, and it attracts people who are aligned with your truth, not just your appearance or surface charm. You stop needing to play small, or to overcompensate, or to be the person you think others want. You start showing up as you, flaws, strengths, quirks, and all. And here's the twist: when you no longer need to be noticed, you become someone who can't be ignored. That shift in energy turns passive observers into active admirers. You don't even have to initiate, because your presence does the inviting. The subtle eye contact, the calm smile, the grace in how you move, it all speaks louder than words. It says, I know who I am, I'm not trying to impress you, I'm just living in alignment with me. And that alignment becomes irresistible. It makes people want to know more, to invest more, to chase, not because you asked for it, but because they can't help themselves. Walking away is one of the most powerful moves you can make. Not out of bitterness, but from a place of deep self-respect. It sends a signal stronger than any spoken words. I refuse to settle for less than I deserve. Yet, many people stay in situations far past their expiration date, clinging to hope, interpreting mixed signals, or trying to prove their worth through loyalty and sacrifice. But here's the truth that few are willing to accept. The longer you stay in a situation that does not honor your value, the more you teach others that you're comfortable being undervalued. There's a unique kind of power in being able to walk away gracefully, especially when your feelings are still involved. It shows a level of emotional maturity that is both rare and deeply attractive. It tells the other person, I care about you, but I care about me more, and that energy is unforgettable. It stays with them long after you leave. Most people are used to others staying no matter how poorly they behave. They're used to second chances, to emotional negotiations, to someone hanging on just in case they change. So when someone walks away without drama, just a calm, certain exit, it wakes them up. They realize they've lost something they didn't fully value until it was gone. This ability to leave isn't about ego or superiority. It's about knowing your standards and being brave enough to enforce them, even when it hurts, even when you're tempted to stay. Because you've learned that no amount of potential, attraction, or shared history is worth sacrificing your peace or self-worth. Walking away creates space, not just for them to reflect, but for you to realign with what you truly want. You give yourself the gift of clarity and the opportunity to attract someone who sees your value without needing to be reminded. What happens next is often unexpected. The moment you walk away from someone who's been taking you for granted, everything shifts. Either they rise to meet the level you've always deserved, or they fade, proving you were right to leave, and both outcomes are wins. Because the real victory is not in being chased for validation. It's in knowing that you have the strength to choose yourself over and over again. That strength becomes the foundation of real confidence, real connection, and the kind of love that doesn't require chasing, because it flows from mutual respect, not desperation. In a world where connection is often confused with convenience and attraction is diluted by games, one truth remains unshaken. People chase what feels rare, what feels real, and what makes them rise. The entire essence of becoming someone who is effortlessly pursued lies not in becoming what others want, but in fully embracing who you already are. It starts with setting your standards and refusing to apologize for them. You don't shrink to fit into someone's comfort zone. You expand into the fullness of your value and invite others to either match your energy or step aside. That unwavering commitment to your self-worth becomes a filter, separating those who are casually interested from those who are deeply invested. As you grow more emotionally available, you discover the beauty of expressing yourself without fear. It's not about opening up recklessly, but about having the strength to say, "Here's how I feel," without needing to twist someone else's response to feel secure. This kind of presence is magnetic. It feels like truth in a world of performance. When you share your emotions with clarity, without trying to control the outcome, you create a space that is rare and deeply human. You show that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength dressed in honesty. And that strength calls others toward you with curiosity, with respect, and with real desire. True magnetism isn't loud, it doesn't scream for attention, it simply exists quietly and confidently. When you stop performing, when you stop chasing and trying to prove yourself, you return to the center of your own power. That stillness, that groundedness draws people in. You no longer compete for the spotlight, you become it. And the irony is that when you no longer need to be chosen, that's when you're chosen by those who matter, because they see in you something they don't find often, someone who's already whole, already fulfilled, and not waiting for someone else to complete them. And finally, the deepest signal of self-worth is knowing when to walk away, not with resentment but with grace. To leave even when you care is to honor your own value above temporary attachment. It tells the world, and yourself, that you are not available for halfway love, delayed clarity, or lukewarm effort. That kind of strength doesn't just protect you, it transforms you, and the people who are truly ready for love, for depth, for real connection, they don't run from that energy. They chase it, not because you ask them to, but because they feel what you've become, someone who's no longer trying to be desired, but has already become desirable by design. Thank you so much for taking the time to read, engage, and explore this message. Your presence and support mean more than words can express. If this speech resonated with you, inspired you, or shifted your perspective in any way, I'm truly grateful. As you upload and share this content, know that you're not just spreading words. You're spreading empowerment, clarity, and truth to someone who might really need to hear it today. Every upload, every share, every comment makes a difference. Wishing you strength, confidence, and connection in all that you do. Keep growing, keep rising, and never forget the power you hold when you choose yourself first. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.